The film starts off in Acapulco, Mexico, where we meet a tentative young child named Valentin. His dad, Juan Johnny Bravo, relentlessly urges Valentin to stand up to his feelings of trepidation and show fortitude. On one event, Johnny takes Valentin jump off a precipice sitting above the sea. In an endeavor to harden him up, he accepts that overcoming one's apprehensions head-on will dispense with them perpetually, yet this experience just varieties hatred in Valentine without genuinely helping him beat his feelings of dread. 26 years after the fact, Valentine has developed into Acapulco's playboy, avoiding responsibility and laying down with each lady he crosses ways with his light-hearted way of life appears to be going flawlessly until he suddenly experiences an old excursion. Julie. Out of nowhere, Julie appears on Valentin's doorstep with a child, guaranteeing that the youngster is his girl. She then, at that point, gives up her child to him, previously hurrying down the stairs to pay the driver. Anyway, it occurs to him just minutes later that she has deserted the child with him without any expectation of ever returning later. Julie makes a telephone call from the air terminal admitting that she isn't ready to bring up a youngster. She then begs Valentin to take great consideration of the child and suddenly hangs up the call without offering any further clarification. In a rush, she leaves the telephone free, and Valentin learns that she's in transit to Los Angeles on a flight. Following the call, Valentin surges to the air terminal with the aim of rejoining the child with Julie. Anyway, he misses her as she gets onto her flight just before his eyes. After his bombed endeavor, Valentin chooses to leave Acapulco with the child still up in the air to track down Julie. In the next scene, he filters through letters from his previous indulgences and coincidentally finds a single photo of Julie with a Los Angeles lodging apparent behind the scenes. With this sign, he takes Maggie and sets out on an excursion, bumming a ride his direction across Mexico. Ultimately, Valentine's assurance drives him to effectively cross the U.S. line by being carried in a vehicle truck alongside various different Mexicans, depending entirely on a single photograph of Julie. Valentin sets off, determined to find her at the inn. Anyway, given his absence of familiarity with English, this errand demonstrates undeniably more testing than he at first expected. While at the lodging, Valentine chooses to leave Maggie in a capacity room. As he strolls around the spot, he encounters Blunt, a film maker, while participated in discussion with straight-to-the-point Valentin. Out of nowhere, spots Maggie meandering hazardously near a close-by pool. Overpowered by dread for his girl's security, he takes a really considering jumping from a suite plunging almost 10 stories beneath to safeguard Maggie from the pool. This bold demonstration grabs the eye of Plain, who had been looking for a stand-in. Dazzled by Valentin's fortitude, he immediately extends to him an employment opportunity as a stand-in. When our kid delays, Blunt cautions him about the outcomes. He makes sense of that if Valentin somehow managed to be seen at the U.S. line with Maggie, the specialists might address why a Hispanic man is going with a child who shows up to be of an alternate identity. They may misconstrue what is happening and confine Valentin because of the possible worries of kid dealing or snatching. Hearing this, Valentin acknowledges the work, regardless of its extensive perils, solidly accepting it's the main way he can accommodate and uphold Maggie. As the years pass, Valentin brings Maggie up in a happy and enthusiastic home loaded up with recess times and giggling the dad. What's more, little girl live in a condo jumbled with toys, causing it to look like even more a den rather than a common family home. They frequently invest their free energy relaxing around in matching night robe together, captivating in games and exercises together. When his Girl arrives at the age of 7. Valentine effectively lays out himself as one of Hollywood's first class stand-ins. Maggie then again plays an essential job in his profession, filling in as the to his beginning mentor and interpreter. She not just helps him in defeating his fears during trying tricks, yet, in addition, adds to their onset coordinated effort during school days. Maggie stays at the loft where she's taken care of by Jackie, their neighbor. Also, Valentine's ongoing excursion in expansion to their day-to-day existence. Valentine supports Maggie with a dreamland. He makes an intricate story in which her granddad is, as a matter of fact, Johnny Bravo, the cherished animation character. Valentine depicts his dad as the extreme legend, and Maggie, enamored by his accounts, has confidence in this whimsical story. One day, after getting back from a film shoot, Valentine and Maggie track down a letter from Julie. Right now it becomes evident that notwithstanding Maggie's yearning for her mom, Valentine has never uncovered the excruciating truth to her that her mom had deserted her. Rather, he assembles an intricate ploy by composing week-by-week letters to Maggie. As far as anyone knows from Julie, these letters depict respectable purposes and unbelievable undertakings that have kept her mom far away for a long time. Besides, Valentine capably removes pictures of Julie. What's more, glues them close by different famous people to additional help his stories and keep up with the exterior for his little girl. One day, in the wake of dropping Maggie off at school, Valentine is called to the importance office for a serious discussion. It becomes visible that he's been permitting Maggie to play hooky much of the time, whether it's for going with him to film shoots or enjoying games at home. Anyway, the rule is a long way from satisfied with these clarifications. What's more, straightforwardly addresses the hidden issue she brings up. Such Maggie's reality is everything except customary, and communicates her interests about how living in a dreamland is adversely influencing her. Other than this, the head recognizes that Valentine is doing everything within his capacity to guarantee his little girl's bliss. Anyway, it seems like he might be overcompensating for the shortfall of a mother figure in his girl's life. In the meantime, Maggie shows up in her homeroom conveying a block of cheddar, demanding that her mom brought it for her from the moon. It becomes obvious that this is simply one of Valentine's untruths. However, Maggie remains willfully ignorant as her cohorts burst into giggling. In many regards, Maggie gives off an impression of being the more developed of the two, frequently pushing Valentine to go up against his own feelings of dread. She even offers to go with him to a normal specialist's exam, accepting that he's anxious about infusions. During one such visit to the medical clinic, the specialist secretly trusts in Valentine. While Maggie is out of the room, he uncovers that the medicines they've been going through aren't yielding the normal outcomes. Anyway, no extra data about the circumstance is given around then. Later, the debilitating specialist's visit, Valentine chooses to take Maggie to an carnival to lift both their spirits. Anyway, Maggie is left apparently upset when a lady holds her hand, confusing her with her own girl. She then trusts in Valentine about how her companions insult her, looking at her mom to St. Nick Claus on the grounds that she has never had the opportunity to see her. Determined by Maggie's wish to meet her mom, Valentine pays a visit to his maker companion, Candid. Together they conceptualize an arrangement and hold tries out for entertainers to depict the job of Julie, with an end goal to bring some satisfaction into Maggie's life. Later, Valentine gets back and quietly incorporates the letter he composed, as far as anyone knows, from Julie alongside the remainder of the mail and hands it over to Maggie. The young lady enthusiastically expects Hearing from her mom and Valentine guarantees that she will be with her soon. Inevitably Valentine gets a telephone call from a lady at first expecting. It's one of the projecting entertainers attempting to tempt him to get a job anyway. The guest's personality is before long revealed as Julie herself, who illuminates Valentine that she's in Los Angeles and needs to meet with Maggie the next day. Valentine and Maggie head to the closest entertainment mecca, tensely sitting tight for Julie's appearance. After what feels like an unfathomable length of time, she at long last shows up. Maggie burns through no time. What's more, hurries into her arms, encountering the hug of her mom for the very first time in her life as the little young lady happily plays in the recreation area. Valentine makes a move to have a sincere discussion with Julie. He gets serious about the intricate untruth he told Maggie, guaranteeing they were once hitched, yet got separated from. Later on during this discussion, Julie uncovers that she has fabricated an effective life for herself, filling in as a legal counselor in a lofty regulation firm in New York. She then, at that point, communicates her true craving to interface with her little girl and recognizes Valentine for the noteworthy task he's finished in raising Maggie in her non-appearance. Later the three of them got back to Valentine's loft. Also, Julie is left immediately stunned as she sees the innumerable toys that fill their home when they enter Maggie's room. Julie is moved by the presentation of letters and photograph collections that Valentine had made for their little girl over the years. She can't resist the urge to feel overpowered with joy at how he's sustained Maggie into such a sweet and cherishing young lady. The next day Maggie enthusiastically takes Julie to school, acquainting her with everybody who will listen. Subsequently Valentine goes for a walk with Julie, apparently ready to talk about something critical, potentially connected with what he had realized. Fr.